For many of the passengers aboard this New York-Paris jet, vacation time has finally arrived. Food for reflection. And all the while, other reflections keep coming back. Just think, in a few short hours, the Renault Caravelle they've hired from New York will be waiting for them at the airport. They'll be off at long last on their own personal discovery of the French provinces. And there she is, their Caravelle. Soon they'll be old friends, sharing 1,000 recollections. But not yet. Who are they now? Will she be nice? Does he know how to drive? But imagine for a moment that it's you we've been talking about, that this is your vacation, your car. Those are your hands on the steering wheel. The engine hums, and you're off, out into the provinces of France. Au revoir, Paris, and bonjour, Normandy, immortal name. Looked at like this, the Mont St Michel seems to tower above the countryside. But don't be taken in. In fact, it rises up out of the sea. Twice a day, at the speed of a galloping horse, the tide comes back to surround the famous rock. But don't go thinking it is completely cut off at high tide. A causeway makes access possible at all times. And when the sea reaches the base of the ramparts, St. Christopher in modern guise arrives to help out in the crossing. Calypso here, you think? Not at all. We're at Mother Poulard's hotel, and a man is beating eggs for her celebrated omelet. The secret, it's all in the beat, beating. Then comes the fresh Norman butter melting in the pan. If you are lucky at Madame Poulard's, they may even invite you out backstage to see how it's all done. Next, the creamy beaten eggs are poured into the hot pan and put back on the fire to cook. Simple, isn't it? What anybody would do. And yet something happens at Mother Poulard's, where an omelet, this omelet, every omelet is an event. From staircase to staircase, the ramparts rise, leading to the Abbey. An impregnable fortress for which each stone had to be brought by boat and hauled up from the beach, but also a profusion of spires and pinnacles. And in the cloister with its colored tiles, a filigree of columns. This Gothic structure is known as the Marvel. To reach this staircase, the lace staircase, you've had to climb 900 steps, but they are soon forgotten when you see the view. Beyond the Mont St Michel, the road calls. Other views, other discoveries await us. Rain, the winds of Brittany will soon chase that away. Already here at the Plant du Rer, the rain is gone. This is the Finistère, the end of the earth of this old continent. Beyond the horizon, now full of sun, nothing but the sea lies between us and the great American continent. This granite rock has preserved through the centuries l'enclos de Saint-Égonec and the Calvary at Lampol. The war damaged the Calvary at Plu Gestel d'Aulas, but with the donations made by generous Americans, the damage was repaired as early as 1945. What religious fervor can be felt looking at this gate of triumph and at this Calvary? At Le Crenant, a sculptor finds inspiration in an age-old theme. Round about 1888, Gauguin chose this model at Pont-Aven for an impressive painting now in the museum in Buffalo. But most typical of Brittany are the pardons at Rumagol, for example. The coiffes or bonnets the women wear are not at all the same. Each town or region has its own, and you can see at the different pardons who is from Quimper and who from Douarnenez or Lorient. You will keep with you for a long time the souvenir of a Breton pardon. It's a burst of fervor not often found elsewhere. Concarneau, which is France's third largest fishing port, has a surprise. It's a closed town locked inside granite ramparts in the center of the port. The picturesque is everywhere in Brittany, and each port is unique. Who's in favor of this? Or this? Or maybe oysters? Lobster too? Yes, we'll have that right here, please. Where does it all come from? Remember those cute little cans of sardines? You find them anywhere in the world. Well, it seems that the whole process starts like this. That sardine is a pretty small fish, but you just have no idea what hard work is involved before he's safely in the can. But life is not all work in a boat in Brittany, and here at Notre-Dame de Tournoën, we see a Breton wedding. This gate is our gate into Touraine, where they really know how visitors should be welcomed. Along the Loire, like pearls joined by a silver thread, lie the chateaux of Amboise, Sachet, Brissac, Saumur, Ussé, Chaumont, Fougères, and many others. Which one would you like to see? Chambord? Let's start with Chambord then, the biggest of the Loire chateaux. Or would you prefer something less feudal? The elegant grace of Chenonceau, for example. The castle, which was built by a woman, the castle 6 famous women loved and cherished and called their home. Huh, what a view he must have of it. A view we can all have in this modern world, as your own experience has proved. Let's go back to Chambord again and see what it looks like from above. And what about the gardens of the Chateau de Villandry? Flying above it like this gives us a much better idea of the extraordinary layout of this strange vegetable garden. Yes, vegetable garden, full of tomatoes and beans and cabbages, all arranged like strangely trimmed box trees, exactly as it was in the 16th century. There's absolutely nothing like it anywhere else. Now let's get our bearings. From the Mont St Michel, we've been down through Brittany and on to the Chateau of the Loire. And now down into the south we go. Yes, to Le Perirgot. Poplar trees, valleys, rivers full of fish. This is the Perirgot, right enough. And the oaks under which the truffles grow. Ah, the original inhabitant, no doubt. Back in 300,000 BC, about. What hopes and ambitions could they have had, these prehistoric figures at Azy? Good butchers and better cooking, you can bet. For even wars in the Perirgot ended up round a good meal. What feasts there were at Pérac, at Los, Campagne, Sarlat, at la Roque-Gajac, and in Bénac. Walnuts have their place in the recipe book too, but without the shells. Getting back to food now. Pigs are used to find truffles, as you know, and it's a real lifesaver for the pig who has the luck to be born in the Perirgot. To the south of the Perirgot, we find the Lot River with its scenic roads and its high-perched villages like Saint-Cyr-la-Pepie. The Pont Valentré de Cahors leads us on to our next province, the Basque Country. A varied land, it seems, whose grave and silent people have an extraordinary passion for folk dancing. This Fandango, for example. In the Basque Country, even the road signs seem musical, if you say them fast. The architecture is very typical. and so are the oxen. Harvest time is also an occasion to dance this Basque hoop dance. The village of Ainoa holds engraved in its walls the age of its houses. But who can say how old these disc-shaped headstones may be? This one perhaps holds the warrior chief whose death is represented in this dance. The whole Basque coast should really be seen from the endless pounding of the sea at Sokoa to the sandy beaches of Biarritz. One place that cannot be missed is Saint-Jean-de-Luz. Its beach is worth the trip by itself, and so is the unloading of tuna fish in the harbor in front of the Infanta's house. Lafayette was here before he left for the New World, and watched, no doubt, the copper dance we see them doing now. The national sport of the Basques, of course, is Pelota. Inside the walled court, the leather ball is served. The game is on. As in tennis, the players face each other. Their long curved wicker baskets wait for the ball. In the heat of action, the colored sashes show who's who. After all this running about, a place to relax is just what we need. But the Basques themselves are tireless. From Biarritz to Nice is just over 600 miles. On the way, we find Carcassonne, the walled city right out of the Middle Ages. Aigues-Mortes, the one-time port built for a king's crusades. But we must leave these old stones behind us, for we have a date in Nice, the Mecca for all tourists in France. With its mild climate and welcoming streets, with its hotels and its flowers. The whole Cote D Azure is beckoning now. Here is Antibes and the profusion of shapes and colors you expect in this Riviera wonderland. A paradise for artists and their despair is Aix, perched high above the sea, where all things grow. Then comes Monaco. What color and what contrasts. And here is Villefranche, which the Navy knows well. Now, this reminds me of something. What was it? Oh yes, the sea, the bright blue Mediterranean we keep forgetting to look at. Now here it is. Whoop, oh man, that's wet down there. Yes, a swimmer's dream come true. The Cote d'Azure has everything. Gay Saint-Tropez, a modern, comfortable Palm Beach at Cannes, boats for every taste, and the romantic setting of the Rer Islands. In memory, store up these colors, these smiles, these scents. For our voyage is nearly at its end. The Promenade des Anglais in Nice this morning is already, alas, the beginning of the road home. "80 minutes away by Air France Caravelle is Paris, and here we leave our Caravelle car. A few last flowers and a promise. Next year we'll be back to explore new ground, new provinces in France. Until then, belle France, we say au revoir and merci. Merci.